Good morning, everyone. Hi. Good morning. Just getting set up. I think some folks emailed me their questions. I want to make sure I didn't miss them. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right. Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm using earbuds, which is weird for me, but it's loud outside, so I thought that would help. Good morning. Yes, we can hear. Beautiful. Love it. All right, so I'm going to begin like we always do by calling in the good spirits first, and then we'll get started on your questions. As always, I ask that you drop the questions in the question box. Last week they started disappearing, so I'm going to do my best to kind of screenshot them as we go. We're a little scrappy here, and that's okay. We make it work. So if you're with me now, I invite you to close your eyes if it's comfortable. Relax into your seat. And together, let's take 3 big deep breaths in through our noses and out through our mouths. Good. Keep taking those big, deep breaths as I call in the spirits. From the east, who connects us to our mental acuity, I call upon the element of air and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the east. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the east. From the south, who connects us to our creativity, inspiration, sensuality, and sexuality. I call upon the element of fire and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the south. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the south. From the west, who connects us to our emotions, the dream world, the dead, and fluidity. I call upon the element of water and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the West. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the West. From the North, who connects us to our physicality, the material world, resources, and cultivation. I call upon the element of earth and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the North. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the North. From above, we draw down the golden light of Creator, down from the heavens, into our crowns, moving down through our bodies, plunging into the soil, connecting deep into the center of this good earth. We welcome this golden light as it neutralizes all that does not serve us in this moment. We thank you, Creator, for your great dreaming and for our lives. From below, we draw up the silvery center of this good earth, up through the soil, into our bodies, moving up through our crowns, stretching high into the heavens. We welcome this silver light as it neutralizes all that does not serve us in this moment. We thank you, great above and great below. From the center, we rest our hands on our hearts. We breathe deeply into our bellies. And we listen to the seventh direction within us. We thank ourselves for rising this morning, for meeting this day, its challenges, and its blessings. Benevolent spirits of the cosmos, our Father Sun, our Grandmother Moon, our good Mother Earth, ascended ancestors, wise and well, good spirits, guardians, gods and guides who surround, support, and uplift each and every one of us gathered here together today. We thank you for being with us now. We thank you for your blessings and your protections now and always. We thank you for your wisdom, guidance, and truth through both the shadows and the light. We thank you, Creator and Creatrix, for this moment. And we thank all the versions of ourselves, past, present, future, and beyond, for aligning here now. May our hearts be open, and may we be ever present to receive. Ooh, it's a busy room. Hi everyone, good morning. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to maintain some semblance of order in this process because it's consistently a little bit chaotic, and it's actually not my fault. But I'm gonna go through the payments and try to match you up to the questions in the box as best as I can to try to keep things somewhat neat and tidy. We shall see, because I know that the questions in the box sometimes disappear. We'll do the best with the tools that we have, all right? We will do the best with the tools that we have. It'd be cool if there was a platform just for this. Not that's a psychic hotline, but where independent practitioners can pop on and y'all can pay and drop your question at the same time. That would be so neat. Somebody smart in the viewing, make that. I'm gonna pull a card really quickly for all of us. That's it. Do I cut the deck? No. I pulled Hearth. And what the Hearth is trying to TBH, they're keeping it very simple. Make sure you eat today. Make sure that you eat something today. Make sure that if you haven't had breakfast, you eat some lunch. Take the time that you need to feed your body so that you're able to function at whatever your best capacity for today is. Feeding ourselves is a spiritual practice. It takes energy, it takes effort, and it feels like more than one of us needed that reminder this morning. If you are just joining us, welcome. We are still open to taking questions. You can find the link to my Venmo and PayPal in my bio, and you can either leave your question as a comment on your donation, or you can drop your question in the question box right here. All right, let's get started. Amber. Perfect. Yours is at the top. Who are my guides and ancestors? Anything they'd like to share with me about themselves? That's a great question. So we have so many guides and so many ancestors, but let's see which one wants to come forward today. I need a pen. Her name is Raina. There's a spirit coming forward for you, Amber. Her name is Raina. This spirit is a guide, not an ancestor, a guide. And she's here to help you with patience and focus. She's like, that's the message. She's here to help you with patience and focus. The colors that come with her are orange, yellow, red, like a flame. And it kind of looks like, I might be seeing this just because I was listening to Sergio Mendes all morning, but the way that the colors flow from her remind me of a Brazilian samba, carnival outfit. they look less like rays and more like feathers coming out all around her. And she's a little bit stern, but very warm. The things that she says to you, she says with intention. And she says things that sometimes you don't want to hear, but need to know. But she doesn't come from a place of like trying to break you down with the truth. No, like there is sweetness in her words, but sometimes even truth delivered in kindness can be uncomfortable when we do not desire to receive it. And Raina's here to be like, you gotta rip the Band-Aid off. And she's like, nobody's gonna deliver it to you as sweetly as I will. I can promise. So she's like, I can promise that. She's got like big sister energy, or like that one cool aunt energy. And one of the best ways to talk to her is while there is like flame present. So I mean, drawing from the hearth card that we just pulled, it could be while you're cooking dinner or making yourself food. It can be lighting a candle for your altar, or lighting a candle in your room, or even your bathroom, you know, before you take a shower. Flame seems to be the best way to draw in her attention so that you can begin building consistency in your relationship with her. Starting with her, and then slowly you'll begin to know more guides. You'll know the rest. That's it. Okay. Ooh. Thea, yes, Thea Ember. I was reading it as Amber. Yes. So Thea, the guide that came through for you is Raina. Okay, let me mark this so I know that I got to you. Okay. Who's PML? You're up. Let's see. What do my guides want to let me know? I immediately heard, what don't we? I love when they're sassy. Like, we need that. It can't always be serious. There has to be some levity involved. Did you tell me to big shuffle? No. Put it back together. Cut the deck. Okay. Is this the right deck? Yes. I kind of knew that card was coming. Am I reading reversals? No. Interesting. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of opinions here. There are many players currently participating in this season of your life. And what I'm seeing is that this can be a little overwhelming. Not just overwhelming, but a little bit of like a blow to your confidence. And there's two different ways this can play out. It's, I feel attacked. Whether or not it's valid is not my business. Like, that's yours. You know better than I do. And now I'm sad and I'm going to retreat. Or it's, I'm feeling like overwhelmed and now I'm going to lash out and then I have to deal with the repercussions. And it seems like we're in this season of like oscillating back and forth between these two feelings. There's a lot of fire here, there's a lot of water here, and we're trying to figure out what the balance is. TBH, your guides seem to be encouraging you to pursue more of the fire. I think there's a draw to water. The tenderness, the emotion, the mystic, and the occult. But it seems as though what you are needing, like the thing that's actually going to soothe this longing inside of you, is to lean more into creativity, passion, inspiration. Those are the things that are going to be the salve and the medicine to move you through this season. I do kind of feel like your spirits are like, look, they certainly have opinions about the different players, the different characters that have been showing up in this past season of your life, and they're encouraging you I'm hearing this song, goes, I wish I could remember who sings it. It might be a Neil Francis song, but it goes, I'll make you wonder, I'm lightning, where is the thunder? And they're talking about like a balance of the elements. So if you're leaning pretty far into your fire, your inspiration, your sensuality, who's bringing the water into your life to create that balance? Are you spending time with people who have their own flames? Then we have wildfire, and then it's like chaotic. Who are the people who can bring a little bit of water into your world, into your life? Who can bring that balance into your life? And are you giving them the chance, the opportunity to show up for you in that way? Your guides have a lot of opinions about the people you surround yourself with, and I would ask them a little bit more about that, because it seems like they know some stuff that maybe you don't or don't want to know. Look, we pulled the Hearth card at the beginning of today, and everything is about fire. Fire, fire, fire. Interesting. Thank you. Who's PML? Alright, let me mark you. Flower Fairy, I know you're not here, but I have your question. A love bombing followed by a ghosting took a very heavy toll on me emotionally. I'm a Leo and my ego is very bruised. Can I get some insight on how to move through this so I don't carry it with me to next connections, since I am and will continue to actively date? I'm excited that you're remaining open to continuing to find new connections and dating, because I think it can be really easy after these not great experiences to retreat back into ourselves. Something that your spirits are sharing with me, Seta, is got it. Your guides are saying you can't expect yourself to just be over it. The fact that you are aware of it. They're like, the fact that you are aware of the toll that it's taken on you, that's important and it's good. That's progress in itself. The fact that you are remaining open to new connections and dating is progress in itself. That is progress in itself. They're kind of talking about how, like, look, just like any other form of grief, this recent experience is going to affect you in like waves. And there are going to be times when you're out and about and you forget all about this person. And there are going to be other times where, like, the lighting is just right, or the smell is just right, or the music is just right, and it's going to hit you and wash over you. And your guides want to remind you that you've gotten to a point in your life where you're actually quite good at allowing yourself to move through these big emotions as they arise. The word, I started to say manage, and they're like, it's not about managing, it's about allowing yourself to experience them. You're really good at moving through these sometimes turbulent emotions that come up, and your guides feel like you don't offer yourself enough credit, almost like you're seeking another way of dealing with the things that you're surprisingly pretty great at dealing with right now. It's just that it's uncomfortable. Even in your healthy approach to moving through these difficult experiences, like, approaching it from a healthy way doesn't necessarily make it any less uncomfortable. And that's, I think, the lesson that they're trying to share with you. The other thing they're talking about is making sure that you take a little bit of time during your next bath or shower to uproot and root. The cords don't seem that deep, TBH. The cords to this person who love bombed you and then ghosted are not that deep. So it doesn't look like there needs to be any uprooting. I don't see any tangling on the inside. I just see like a quick snip, 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 snip. Make sure you follow up with like blocking phone numbers, deleting them from your phone entirely so that there's no physical connection anymore. And your guides are like, honestly, you're going to surprise yourself with how fast you move on from this. Let yourself be mad. Let yourself feel hurt. That's okay. And they're proud of you that this hasn't made you want to give up. Because this is a really ripe season for you when it comes to romantic connection. You know, we have to kiss a few 100 frogs sometimes. It's just the way it is. All right. Thank you, Seta. Silver thorn tattoo. Okay, silver thorn tattoo. Oh, you might have written it on here. Let's see. Perfect. I found it. So my question has to do with my career. I want a certain type of life and I'm not sure what job path will give that to me. I'm currently in school for welding, excuse me. Not wearing my glasses. That's cool. A fiery trade. Interesting. I'm currently in school for welding, but I'm also interested in tattooing, influencing, coding, web development, and 3D printing. I would love to see your birth chart. Silverthorn. I just want to be happy and take care of my daughter. I don't want to make the wrong decision, and I feel like I'm running out of time. All right, let's get into this. Reversals? No. These are nice cards. Here's the thing, Cody. You've got a lot going on in your mind right now. And it's going to be difficult to pursue anything when we are overwhelmed by the thought of our options. It's very much like the Seven of Cups vibe. When you see all these different cups in front of you and we become like paralyzed. What do we choose? What if we choose wrong? And what's interesting is that although you come to my table in this very Seven of Cups moment, I don't see the Seven of Cups here. In fact, I see the Seven of Pentacles, which is telling me that you planted some good seeds. Look, TBH, from what your guides are sharing with me, you seem like the type of person who would likely feel very as confused and unable to make a choice as you feel right now. Your guides are telling me that for you to stick to just one thing would be like the biggest trap. Would be the biggest trap. I'm hearing like Smashing Pumpkins, like I'm still just a rat in a cage. The spirits are singing a lot today. Interesting. So my point, I have many points, but the one I'm getting to first is like, it's okay that there are many things that are interesting to you. It's okay. It's okay that you feel overwhelmed right now, and a big part of it isn't like that you've made wrong choices or you're not good enough. A big part of the overwhelm, especially if you're supporting a kiddo, is that we are existing in late stage capitalism with bonkers inflation, and it's so expensive to simply survive So taking some of that responsibility, taking some of that guilt off yourself and recognizing that, like, no, I am doing my best. This system is just rigged, and all I can do is my best within this very intentionally broken system. The next thing that your spirits are encouraging you to do is to, like, instead of being annoyed with yourself for being interested in so many things, be annoyed and then embrace yourself for being interested in so many things, because it feels like these many different interests are what lay a solid foundation for you to live a comfortable life. With that said, something I was talking to my kiddo about recently, because they, like me, are a Gemini and have many, many interests and struggle with just sticking to one thing. And at the beginning of the year, they had to choose their orchestra instrument. And I was like, hey, why don't you choose flute again this year so that you can continue to become proficient in it? You know, like you've gotten good at picking it up and kind of playing some notes. But if you take flute again, you can become proficient in it. And he got real mad at me. I was like, maybe I'm just a kid. I'm supposed to try lots of stuff. And I was like, okay, dude, do whatever you want. Like, I'm literally not telling you what to do. I'm just trying to help you to have discipline in one thing as you try a billion other things all around it. And he came back with a flute. He came back with a saxophone, which is very cool. Love it. But then that night he started to cry at like 11:21 a.m. He came out of his room crying and was like, I should have picked the flute. I already know how to play the flute. I want to be better at the flute. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. We'll talk to the orchestra teacher and whatever happens, happens. But anyways, the point of my very long story is that it's okay to have many things that you're interested in. Your good spirits do want to encourage you to take some time to develop just one of them. Just one. You can still do all those other things. They're all still going to be there around you. And spending some extra time right now, it says that you're already in welding school. Okay, so focus on that. Do what you can to get better at that. You might finish, graduate, whatever, and realize, like, cool, all these skills that I learned at welding school, I'm going to put them on the shelf right now, and I'm going to focus on tattooing. Or I'm going to put that on the shelf right now. I'm going to focus on getting some coding or web development job. Cool. Don't punish yourself for the way your brain, your body moves through seasons of wanting to work. Embrace it. Embrace it. When I stopped resisting that I like to do many different things, but I allowed myself to become very, very good at this one thing while still getting to play in all the other avenues, it became a lot easier to take care of myself and to take care of others. And I think you're not so dissimilar. You have good seats here. Be a little bit nicer to yourself is something that your guides are saying. They're sternly. Be a little bit nicer to yourself, Silverthorn. And your guides are like, we'll figure out how to make this work together. They're like, it's going to be okay. It's going to take effort, but it's going to be okay. So anyway, the moral of the story is pick one thing for right now. Pick one thing to become great at and let yourself play with all the other things. That way you always have this one awesome thing to fall back on. Or if you get inspired by something, maybe some of the other stuff will take off. But what you've learned from that thing that you've gotten great at is going to help inform and support you in these other projects and interests that you have. Surviving right now is hard, period, for everyone, unless you have generational wealth, which, bless you if you do, love that for you. Would love to build some for me. Surviving right now is hard, so give yourself a little bit of grace. Be nice to yourself. Your guides can't emphasize this enough, okay? I'm not sighing because of you, Silverthorn. I just make that. It's just how I breathe. I have to remind my kids that too. They're like, are you upset? I'm like, no. This is just how I breathe. Okay, let's see who's next. Rebecca Hall. Queer Catholic mystic, went to culinary school. See? I spent 10 years in the apparel industry, and when I finally left, I was like, nothing that I learned is going to be helpful. But the only reason I was able to get Offerings Oracle published was because of the skills that I learned while I was working in apparel. So you never know how these things end up informing each other. Rebecca Hall. Rebecca Hall's not the same as Rebecca Ashley. Just would make sense. Rebecca Hall, if you're here, if you could drop your question in the chat or in the question box, that would be cool. I'm going to skip ahead to the next person, but I won't forget about you. Okay, Silver Lining Astrology. Oh, that is you, Rebecca Ashley. Okay. I'll go back. I'm going to do Silver Lining Astrology just because I already clicked it, and then I'll go back to you, Rebecca. I feel a little lost spiritually, and I'm wondering what spirit wants me to do next. I immediately heard chill. We're going to pull some cards as well, but immediately I heard just chill. But let's get a little bit more insight on that, yeah? We're going to pull from Offerings Oracle. Excuse me. What's funny is that the first thing I pulled before I could even shuffle Silver Lining was rest. They're like, no, we said what we said. Just go. Ooh, I got a full body chill just now. Pull your card. I shuffled. You saw me shuffle. And yet, Silver Lining, the first card I pulled for you is rest. The next card I pulled is Limpia, and then on the bottom of the deck is Dance. So if you need to occupy yourself with something, some sort of activity in order to help you feel like you're doing something, even though you're being called to this season of doing a little bit less, taking a step back, giving yourself a good spiritual bath, giving your home a good limpia, I think is a good idea right now. Engaging with the element of water as a cleansing tool seems particularly helpful right now. And also, like, you know, physical movement that feels good for you. Whatever physical movement you're able to engage in that feels good for you seems to be a nice way to like move the energy around as well. But your spirits aren't really looking for you to like have answers right now. And it's kind of like the Four of Swords or the Hanged One. When we see these cards, they are moments where we are asked to intentionally engage in stillness, to take a step back from our work or our spiritual routines, because there's information that can only reach us when we do that, when we slow it down, when we stop entirely. And you might find that when this season of rest is done, that you're returning to those same routines that worked for you before, or you might find that there's something else that you're called to do. Either way, it's not wrong, it's what's right for you. But it seems as though taking it easy, like this feeling of being lost isn't solved by you finding more things to occupy yourself with, if that makes sense. Like just chill. Thank you, Silver Lining. Okay, Rebecca, I'm going back to you now. Would love to meet my guides, and if there's anything they want me to know right now. Yes. So like I mentioned, we all have many different guides on our quartz, but let's see who is coming through for you now and what they'd like to share. So I'm going to pull cards. Okay. Do a big shuffle. Cut the deck. All these angels. So immediately I am angels we have heard on high. So I'm immediately sensing Archangel Raphael is coming through for you. It seems like they're here to help you support yourself in some sort of like physical wellness, physical healing, something that has to do with your body. It seems like they are here to help support you through whatever that process is. If you are trying to find, whether it's doctors or holistic practitioners who make sense for you, Raphael is the one to petition and ask for that assistance in finding those people. It also feels there's some like transitions, almost like deaths. And I don't know that it's like a literal someone is on their way into the afterlife, or if it's just someone is, maybe your relationship is growing apart, but it does feel like Raphael is here to help support you through these big life transitions that are coming as well. What's interesting is that, I'm not seeing the death card. I'm not seeing the tower, which tells me that although it might seem uncomfortable in the present, I do have the 6 of Swords here. What this tells me is that although it's uncomfortable in the present, in the big grand scope of things, once you are able to take a step back because you've been so far removed from the experience, you're going to see like, that wasn't as devastating as I thought it was going to be. That didn't take me out the way I thought it would. And also, this moment helped me realize that there are people who care about me and want to offer me help and support. And that's the blessing that comes of it. What's interesting is that underneath the 6 of Swords is the 10 of Cups. So despite this season feeling kind of uncomfortable, whatever this transition you're moving through, being kind of uncomfortable and feeling a little bit ominous even, what comes out on the other side is that feeling of community and emotional fulfillment and emotional support. Something that I want you, and just like anyone listening, to remember is when these archetypal spirits come through, archetypal spirits, angelic spirits, folk spirits, we're not necessarily, at least this is according to, Spiritist doctrine and Spiritismo. So like, you believe whatever you want to believe. I am not Teal Swan, LOL. But in Spiritist doctrine, something that we've come to understand is that when we are dealing with these archetypal or angelic or deity type figures, folk spirits, we're not talking to the OG spirit themselves, the original one and only. Instead, there are legions of spirits who show up for us in their image to perform the good works of that spirit in our lives, to offer us support in the manner that archetypal spirit would in our lives. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're working with the Archangel Raphael. Yeah, okay. Cool beans. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay. Let's see who's next. Haley? Is it Haley or Haley? Or Haley? I like the spelling. Want to make sure I'm pronouncing correctly. Who are my spirit guides that are most ready to connect? You've got it. I don't remember the last way I said it. I said I've confused myself. Ooh, that's it. Okay. There are two spirits that have come through for you. One is coming through Temperance and one is coming through the Magician. For you, Temperance seems not... This is one spirit. Together. Oh, got it. Okay. That angel. St. Michael. What's with all the angels today? St. Michael's a very fiery, hot spirit. So again, we're leaning into that hearth energy that came up at the beginning of the reading. They're here to help you find your voice and find temperance within its force. It's to know the difference between those moments where you need to be loud, you need to make yourself heard, and those moments where you need to step back, listen, receive, learn. It can't always be fire and brimstone. There needs to be balance. And if I'm seeing like the scales, like Libra or Justice, it certainly seems like there are some situations that need to be resolved, and it feels like this particular angelic presence is trying to support you in understanding, like, okay, what ways do I need to fight for myself, and in what ways do I need to like wash my hands of this and give it up to my spirits, give it up to my altar. They're talking about how engaging with more red is going to be really helpful for you during this season. Praying for patience is going to be helpful for you during this season. By connecting with this particular spirit, it does seem like building relationship with this spirit is going to help open the door to meeting some of your other spirits as well. Yes, okay. And I keep hearing like, take it easy. Take it easy. So there might be something that's got you really like, something that's really like frying your ass. Like there might be something that's really like pissing you off right now, and that's okay. It doesn't seem like this upset is unwarranted, but with that said, it does feel like this spirit has something to share with you and show you regarding your approach to the situation at hand. That's it. Okay. Good. Okay. That's all. All right. Blanca, yeah, I'm taking more. You can drop, you can just drop your question in the question box. St. Michael seems to want to help you through this situation. Thank you so much. Okay, Senorina. You know who has written some really interesting stuff about Saint Michael? Of course, Queer Catholic Mystic, my number one fave, has written some really good things, really interesting and helpful things about Saint Michael, if you go check out their page. And then also, oh my gosh, what is the name of that person? There's another espiritista on here. Let's see if I can find their page. God, what are they called? Purgatory Magic. Yamil Henriquez. Yamil. You should check out Purgatory Magic. I think they have like a St. Michael specific course, and he's written some really interesting things about how St. Michael has come through and supported his family through some family stuff as well. So I would check out both of those practitioners. Start with their free resources and you can go from there. Okay. Senorina, I don't see your, oh, it's on the comment. Okay. I'm checking it right now. Thank you everyone for your oh. There's no question here. So Senorina, when you have a chance, if you could drop your question for me, and then I'll come back to you. Casey. Let's get to Casey. I know Casey was here. Excuse me. Ah. Hey. What the hell? There. I found it. Okay. Any input as I start my grad school applications? Good for you. I'm looking at divinity school in Boston or Atlanta. 1 to 2 years feels like a massive, scary choice. Okay, immediately I heard Boston. Here's what I'm hearing. Like, there's no wrong decision here. There's no wrong decision here, but it does seem like there's a very interesting and formative experience that awaits you in Boston. It feels like you will make it work in Atlanta and you will finish the job with certainty. They're saying no matter where it is that you go. But I'm honestly kind of surprised, but it seems like there's something really almost adventurous that awaits you in Boston. And I think like the one thing they want me to continue to emphasize is like, there's no wrong choice here. Simply different experiences. They want you to know that they love you. And that's so funny. I heard like your ancestors are the ones carrying you through this. And as I heard it, I flipped a card over and it's ancestral elevation. So I would just take a minute to do a little divination with your good spirits and see if there's someone specific who needs elevation, or if it's just a general elevation that they're asking you to do for any ancestral spirits who are ready to cross over. I think ancestral elevation is going to be coming up a lot as we transition into the fall. You don't need luck, so I'm not going to say good luck, but I am going to say have fun. Okay, Chelsea. Senorina, I see you. Okay, I'm going to do Senorina, and then I'll go to Chelsea. Just so I can try to stay in order. General, you got it. I'm going to do my best to get to everyone today, but it's already starting to get kind of hot in here. So once the heat becomes unbearable, I'm going to have to call it. And if I don't get to you before then, of course, I'll refund you today, so you don't have to wait. Ooh, that's it. Reversals? No. Arena, it certainly feels like you are on, there's two things happening here. There's a very earthly like call to nostalgia that seems to be floating around, and that nostalgia is causing some disruptions in your ability to like perceive the present for what it is and make plans for the future. So that's something that's happening over here, right? And then over here, there's this precipice of spiritual awakening. So, I mean, I know this isn't your first rodeo with spiritual awakenings, but like buckle up, pull your lap bar all the way down, because it does seem as though it is coming again, as evident by the High Priestess and the Moon card. And it can be a little bit frustrating because we can feel our kind of like spiritual self growing in our bodies, and our bodies can start to feel uncomfortable. Like the soul inside of us is too big for the house that it lives in. Our skin can get itchy or feel tight. We can find ourselves easily irritable. So I want to make sure that during this season, you want answers. You want answers is what your spirits are saying, but right now isn't so much the time for just simply receiving information clearly. This is a time for caring for the vessel that holds the spiritual self within it. So making sure that you are engaging in your spiritual baths or spiritual showers, taking time to visit natural bodies of water if you are able to. These are all things that are going to be really supportive for you during this reawakening. It does seem like your head is very, very, very sensitive right now. So I want you to make sure that when you're out and about in the world, you're covering your head, whether it's with a scarf or a baseball cap, but just give yourself that extra little layer of spiritual protection, because believe it or not, it's going to be surprisingly helpful as you navigate through the world, just to have your head covered, because it feels very, very soft and tender right now. And I feel like sometimes our tenderness in the midst of awakening can make us feel a little bit grumpy, and like, that's okay, we're allowed to be grumpy sometimes. But you're setting yourself up for more ease if you take the time to cover your head before you leave the house, or if you're at home but there are lots of other people around, keeping your head covered is going to be helpful. Focusing your spiritual practices, your spiritual routines around cleansing your head, keeping your head clear, these are all going to be helpful. Making sure you're getting enough sleep, protecting your sleep, charging your phone away from your head, away from your body when it's time to go to night. These are all the things that are going to help ease you through this situation. And while there's this longing for the past might be popping up right now, it seems as though it's almost like a reflex. Like, as you're being pushed into this future version of you with these more awareness around your spiritual gifts, it's like when the doctor hits your knee with the hammer, your leg flips up. It feels like for you, the leg flipping up when you're getting hit with the hammer of reawakening is like being stuck, having these like flashbacks of what once was and what could have been. And they're like, that's fine, but it's not what's happening. But it's not what's happening now. Keep cleansing your head, keep cleansing your head, keep cleansing your head is what I hear over and over again. And it feels like basil, whether it's sweet basil or holy basil, Tulsi, that seems to be a very supportive plant for you through this process. They also want to remind you that like these next few months are going to be extra sensitive, just because it's that time of year. You know, like it's the time of year where the ancestors are more heavily present. It's that time of year where the moon takes up more time in the sky, and we are left with more hours of this opacity that leaves us feeling confused and like we don't know. And in those moments, instead of like fighting and wishing that you had more light, more clarity. Allow yourself to grow comfortable in the shadows is what they're saying. Ooh, that was tingly. Janelle, I haven't gotten to you yet, but I'm going in order, so I will get to you eventually. But yes, when it's all done, I post the live on my page. Okay, now we're getting to Chelsea. I just saw your question. Here we go. Any guidance and support from my good spirits working through deep rejection wounds? This one, okay. We're using the red one. Cut it out. Yes. First things first, I think it's interesting that this conversation card flew out of the deck, and then the next card that popped up is the prayer card, and it does feel like, yes, engaging with the Blessed Virgin Mother or your personal preferred motherly archetype is going to be helpful for you right now. Something that I'm hearing is like, take up in my mantle, take up in my mantle. And some of my favorite images of the Blessed Virgin Mother are the ones, it's super Catholic today, what's happening? Some of my favorite images of the Blessed Virgin Mother are the ones where her mantle is open wide and you can see like people underneath, and how she takes us into the protection of her mantle and watches over us and offers us tenderness and compassion and grace. And my favorite thing about communing with the Blessed Virgin Mother when it comes to receiving her compassion, her tenderness and grace is that at the same time, she's also teaching us how to give it to ourselves. She's teaching us how to give it to ourselves. It doesn't start and end with her. She helps us to treat ourselves differently, to be the mother to ourselves that she desires to be to us. And like, that is the greatest gift, in my humble opinion, of spending time with our maternal spirits, is that not only do we receive their love, but they also show us how to give love to ourselves. Love that so often like is easier for us to offer unto others, but we struggle to accept from ourselves for ourselves. I keep hearing her talking about how like you are worthy. You are worthy. And she's talking about how like it's hard out there, like making connections now in this chaotic world isn't always easy. But that doesn't make you any less worthy of being in right relationship with other people. I see her putting her hand over your heart, and she says, I'm just going to leave this here for a little while. That's sweet. She says, I'm just going to leave this here for a little while. I encourage you to think about this prayer, and if it doesn't vibe with you, that's fine. Like, not everybody wants to pray the super Catholicly prayers, and that's cool. Write your own version of it. But the Hail Holy Queen feels like it might be helpful. Hail Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, our light, our sweetness, our hope. To you do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To you do we send up our sighs. Do we set up our sorrow, sighing and weeping in this valley of tears? Turn then, most gracious advocate, thine eyes of mercy toward us. Ugh, like that just does it for me. Poor banished children of Eve, like that we are. I think it's just because I'm emo and I love that prayer, but it feels like that prayer is going to offer you some support. And if that prayer doesn't do it for you, like how can you rewrite it in language that does feel good and aligned for you so that you're still receiving that same tenderness and compassion? I do encourage you, the other two cards that came up, and I almost didn't talk about these because this is stuff you already know. Reflection and compassion, reflection and protection. It does feel like doing some mirror work when it comes to those feelings of surveillance is going to be helpful. And one of your guardian spirits was like this is the last straw. Doing some mirror work, reflecting back those eyes that you feel like have been on you without your consent. Like your guides are like, this is our last attempt at doing things nicely in this respect. So like put your whole foot in it when you do this like mirror reversal, however it is that you want to do it. I feel like Dom has also posted some good stuff about working with mirrors. And then if that doesn't work, like check back in with, honestly, if that doesn't work, you have to give it over to your altar and let them handle things the way they want to. That's it now. Okay. Thank you, Chelsea. Okay. Daniela. Oh, there you are. Oh, you're at the top. Bless. How should I approach this new season? My birthday was on September 2nd. Happy birthday. And I want to channel new and transformative energy while valuing rest and recuperation. How should I keep a balance within resting and making change? That's a good question. Oh, we're changing decks for you. Hold. This one, yes. Is this the card? Put it down. All right, so I pulled a few cards for you. I'm going to start with what's on the bottom of the deck, which is to weft, to collect. And this weaving, this loom, what it's telling me is that journaling, writing is going to be a very supportive spiritual routine to get into for you, whether it's making a habit of it every morning or making a habit of it before you go to bed every night. And I almost think before bed might be the most beneficial. It feels like centering your spiritual practice around sleep and dreams is going to be very helpful for you. If you want to prioritize rest so that you are able to make the changes that you desire to see in your life, you need to treat your rest as though it is sacred. Your sleep is the altar at which you are of service right now. And the next card that I pulled is a sigil for dream work. So this is again emphasizing the importance of making sure that you are treating your sleep as the priority. You are treating your sleep as sacred. Putting your phone up, sitting in bed at as the most decent hour that you possibly can manage. You know, I don't know how many jobs you are working right now or what life looks like for you, but the earliest that you can manage, like, get yourself in bed and grab a journal, you know, grab a little cup of tea, water, and sit there and write out the things that are on your mind. Write out the things that you desire to see different. Write out the things that you're grateful for. Take a moment to recognize all of the changes you have made from the year of your birth up to right now. Spending that time journaling, putting it on your nightstand, keeping your nightstand clean and clear as best as you can is going to be really helpful. I would take time this week to give your bed a good cleansing, maybe wash your sheets with some fresh basil or with some spiritual cologne. That's your preference. That has a cleansing energy to it, is going to be helpful. Giving your bedroom, the place where you sleep, a good smoke cleansing is going to be helpful. Really treating your bed and your sleep as the most sacred thing in your life right now, because that is what's going to give you the energy to take action during your waking hours. And it's also going to give you the peace of mind to know, like, okay, today I can do this thing and this thing and this thing. Or today, I'm not going to do anything, and that is okay, because I recognize in my clear state, because I've been sleeping well, that it is okay and necessary to take a break today. Sleep is sacred in this season, and I want you to, like, drink that affirmation up, like morning, noon, and night, reminding yourself that all the time, because it does feel like there's this temptation to stay awake. I don't know what you do in the middle of the night. That's not my business, but they want you to spend more time prioritizing your rest and doing what you got to do so that it's possible to prioritize your rest. Does this sometimes mean like FOMO? Yeah, but it's not going to be this way forever. But your guys are like, but it is that way right now. That's it. Okay, you got it. Thank you, Daniela. My scarf just does not want to stay on today. It's real annoying. Let's see if I can tighten it without getting my hair stuck in it. We'll see. Hair's already stuck in it. Just let it be stuck. Okay. Oh, untying that is not going to be fun later, but that's okay. Make sure my red candle is still going. Time to replace it. Hold on. Alright. I don't want to burn my hair. Okay, who's next? Kelsey. Excuse me. Really? Okay. Any insight from my guides on my current relationship? Let's find out. Just ripped the box. This is the longest a box like this has ever lasted for me. I'm honestly in shock. Cut the deck. Okay. They're telling me to pull 3 cards. What you already know, what you need to know, and what to do about it. Am I reading reversals? No. Do I start with the bottom of the deck? No, save that for last. Okay. I feel like the spread felt very ominous. But the cards are not so daunting. So there's that. Let's start with what you already know, which is the 4 of Cups. So we're definitely feeling there's some feelings of frustration, stagnation, feeling a little bit disenchanted and disconnected. And you know, this happens sometimes, but there's also this feeling of like neither one of us wants to go first. Neither one of us wants to be the one to initiate the energetic shift in what we have here. What's important here, though, is that we're at the 4 of Cups, not the 5. And the 5 is a card of grief, ending, spilt cups, being focused on what once was instead of recognizing what is. And the 4 of Cups is like, maybe there's still a good thing here. There's still a good thing here. And when I look at what your guides want you to know, it's the Knight of Cups. And what this is telling me is that in order to move through this season of feeling a little bit like, meh, it's all right. It's not uncomfortable, but it's not exciting. You have to be the excitement. You have to be the excitement. Like, you can sit and wait for someone else to do it, and that's okay. But you might be waiting a long time or forever. I definitely feel like there's a hesitation from whomever this partner or perhaps partners are. And I almost feel like I just feel like they're a little bit clueless and not in like I'm not trying to drag them or anything. They just like don't know. They just don't know what to do. They don't know what'll make you happy or what it is that you want or need. And I mean, maybe it's from not paying enough attention, or maybe it's because they haven't heard enough from you about what it is that you want, need, and are interested in. And so your good spirits are encouraging you to like pick up the ball and like it's in your court, basically, is what they're saying. The ball is in your court right now to make things interesting, exciting, but also to like communicate what's going on in your head with the other person. When we're in the cups, we're very watery. We're very much inside of ourselves, inside of our own feelings. And when we feel that way, often our partners are feeling that way too, but not enough is being said. We're relying too much on, well, they should know at this point. But also, like, we change. So even the things that our partners, a good observant partner, knows about us at some point might be different by the time we arrive at a season like this where things are feeling a little bit stuck. Your guides are encouraging you to like take the first steps, because it does seem like when you take those first steps to make things interesting, to communicate the things that are on your mind, your partner responds well and is like, oh, I'm so glad you brought this up. And like they start participating, you know, they match your energy, which is nice. The last thing that I'm saying, what you should do about it, is the 2 of Swords. At the end of the day, it's up to you. Maybe you're here and you're like, I'm done. I'm in the meh state and I don't particularly want to fix this. And that's okay. Again, that's your business. Like, you know better than I do how aligned this relationship is for you. I will say your spirits don't dislike this person. They're not dragging this person. They're not dragging this relationship. And also, like, especially if you're in a long-term relationship, obviously I don't know like the details, but when you're trying to have a long-term relationship with someone, like, this season comes around more than once in your lifetimes, and it takes effort from both people in order to move through it. And I think that this season probably comes up more frequently for people now that, like, it's hard to survive right now. So we get really caught up in the grind of having to pay bills and the work that it takes to be able to pay bills. Like, who's feeling like fucking romantic after, working 2 fucking jobs so that you can pay rent for a studio apartment in Los Angeles? But this can be salvaged is what I'm getting from here. And that there's a lot to salvage, worth salvaging, but it's up to you. Do you want to? Are you over it? It's not bad or wrong either way, but only you know the answer to your own truth. And maybe, picking up this Knight of Cups energy and like being the Casanova and seeing what the response you get is what's going to help you to make a decision either way. Or maybe you don't even want to put in that much effort, and that's okay. You got to do what's right for you. But I will say, like, your spirits don't dislike this person. On the bottom of the deck, I have the 4 of Wands, and it's a card of aligned partnerships. But at the end of the day, like, your spirits aren't you. Like, this person isn't your spirit guide's partner. They're your partner. So you've got to decide, how much energy and effort am I willing to put into shaking us out of this season? And do I even want to? And the choice is yours and yours alone. And I think that sometimes when we arrive at these moments, we want our guides to tell us what to do. We want them to say very directly, break up with them, or you're gonna get married, try harder, like, we just want them to give us a clear answer. But it's also in these moments where our guides are like, actually, we want you to exercise your agency. We want you to trust yourself in making your own decisions. And that seems to be the case here. All right. Thank you, Kels. Okay, bunny burnout. My local art house cinema is looking for a new owner. I knew the owners as a young girl. Their daughter's named after me, actually. That's cute. Should I find a way to purchase this? Let's see. They're gonna have me pull 2 cards. Like, what if you do, what if you don't? All right? Is this important? Set it down. Cut the deck. Okay. Okay. This is interesting. TBH, your guides aren't saying that it's a terrible idea. With that said, they do want you to stop and think about, like, how this idea aligns or does not align with the other petitions that you've had on the altar up to this point. The other prayers and dreams and goals that you've had on the altar up to this point, because you won't be able to do this without sacrificing some or many of those things that you've been asking for and wanting for so long. This is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not, you know, you're giving up all of your dreams for this thing that might, like, no, they're saying, look, if you want it, you can have it, but you have to be willing to sacrifice the things that you've been working towards in order to take up the responsibility necessary to make this new venture successful. They're like, whoa, this is out of left field. And also, it's not terrible, this idea. It's really not. You might surprise yourself. And it does seem like it offers you some long-term, stability. It does seem like it helps you work towards some of the goals that you have had up to this point, but in a very different way than you had anticipated. But it also seems like you probably won't be moving anytime soon if you decide to do that, because it's going to demand a lot of you to take up this new venture. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just different from what you've been asking. So your guides are like, which one is it? Your guides are like, which one is it? Like, which one is it that do you want? It's not a should I or shouldn't I situation. Your guides are like, you can have whatever you want, but you have to tell us which one it is. Take some time, reflect. You don't need to rush into a decision, but know that you'll be supported either way, it seems. Exciting. Okay, let's see. Carolina. What do my guides want me to hear from them? They said to reconnect previously, and I've been trying. Red ones. Okay, I don't know if you've chosen a date yet. They really want you to choose a date. Like, lock it in. Like, if the date is far off, like, maybe consider secretly, I mean, don't tell your parents I said this, but, like, maybe consider secretly eloping. And, like, by the time you get to the big show ceremony where everybody's there, like, nobody has to fucking know that you've already been married for some time. But it does seem like, and I don't know why, you do whatever you want to do, obviously, especially with a commitment this large. Like, you don't need to listen to me, but that is what your guides are telling me that they want you to do. Do with that information what you will. Now, when it comes to reconnecting with them, they really want you to make a little bit more space for them in your daily routine. How can you make more time for them in and out of your daily life? Whether it's spending time with them in the morning when you're making coffee and getting ready to leave the house, or it's spending time with them in the afternoon or evening, night. Like, you have to, honestly, it feels like morning seems to be the time that's calling to you, but your good spirits want to make sure that you are showing up consistently and, like, doing the same thing every time. It's giving, like, rosary. Like, there's power in pattern. There is magic to be found in repetition. Speaking of rosary, I pulled the defend card. I do think that your what? Sorry, more than one is talking at the same time. Okay. If you haven't already, like, use this time over the next couple weeks, over the next month, to make sure that your warrior spirits are armed at their altar. Whether it's putting a physical representation of their weapon of choice or an image, a drawing, a printed paper. If you already have them armed at your altar, just like feeding those relics so that they wake up, they're refreshed, they're active, which I don't mean just like freak you out. You don't need to be afraid. But we are entering into that season of the long night. And I mean, there's plenty of lore from all over the world about the types of spirits that come running through when we are in these seasons of the moon, and your good spirits want to make sure that you're using this time to refresh and feed those relics that sit on your warrior spirits altars. And also, like, you're a very psychically sensitive person. Like, I remember when we were like doing opening portals, like, you are very magic, and building a regular routine with your spirits is going to help you to remember that and reconnect to it. And also, as you're doing that, like, you're going to notice yourself being more sensitive to things. So it'll be good for you to take the extra time. They're telling me, like, you've been seeing things. So taking the time to refresh offerings, refresh the relics on your protection altar is going to be helpful too. That's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you, Carolina. Sarita. Okay, red cards. Cut the deck. Okay. Is this right? Yes. Yes. Okay. I shuffled these cards, and yet, like, these cards have been popping up all day long. Okay, first thing we're going to start with is the bottom of the deck, which is trust. And your good spirits just want to affirm that big goal, there's a couple big goals that y'all are working towards. They're actively putting in the effort behind the scenes to make this come true for you by whatever avenues necessary. They're like, we already know what we're talking about. Continue to trust even through these seasons of impatience. And it's also okay to, like, have those moments of doubt, have those moments of frustration. Trust, like anything else, is not a constant state of being. Would be nice, but is not realistic for humans. All of our emotions and experiences are temporary and cyclical. We might revisit them, but we can't be in them all of the time. So offering yourself some grace when you're in those moments of frustration or doubt. But in those moments, let those feelings remind you that, like, no, they have my back. No, we're working on this together. I might not always be able to see the process, but I choose to trust it. But I choose to trust it anyway. And that, my friend, is faith. Your grandmother is here again. I see her hands. And I see her, like, holding, squeezing, massaging yours. She wants you to make sure that, like, the blood flow is good in the hands. Seems very, very important. She touches your head. She touches your face. She squeezes your arms. And I heard, like, her saying, like, I'm with you, baby. I'm with you. And she's very warm. I almost feel her like pulling you in to her chest, pulling you into her chest, and just like resting your head right here. And you guys, I see you both like taking a deep breath together. And I hear her again, I'm with you, especially in the mornings. She is the ancestor that seems to be leading the charge in accomplishing those big dreams that are on your plate right now. That's it. Okay. Grandma Bootsy. I'm so sweaty. Okay, Lori. She is the ringleader. That's funny. That reminds me of my grandma. All right. What birthday message do my guides have for me, and what's to come in my 34th year? Okay. Is this right deck? Yes. Okay. Do a big shuffle. Okay. Ooh, I gotta like body chill. Cut the deck or shuffle again? Shuffle. Cut. I like this a lot. It's kind of dramatic, and I love dramatic. So the birthday message, I pulled two cards for you. Birthday message and what's to come. And the card I pulled for birthday message is the 10 of Swords, the most dramatic. There's a big ending that comes with the turn to this 34th year of your life. And I see your guys kind of like slant, they're like, close that door, close that door. It seems like there is something that you've been knowing isn't working. You've been knowing isn't aligned for you. And your guides are like, 34 is enough. Like 34 is long enough. It's time to close that door. Now, dramatic, yes. Ominous, perhaps. But when I look at what's to come in this 34th year, I pulled the Magician. And I feel like I've already said this today, and I think this, like every once in a while there's like a magical quote that makes the rounds on the internet, and the one I've been seeing a lot lately is, you will have to sacrifice the person you were in order to like step into the life that you desire, or something along that lines, right? You'll have to sacrifice the version of yourself you used to be in order to become the version of yourself you want to be. Some shit like that. There's a million different ways to say it. But this is the vibe that I'm getting. Like, we're going to have to sacrifice some versions of ourselves, some habits, some relationships, some choices that we've made up to this point. But the blessing that comes from shutting these doors to shit that like you've been knowing doesn't work for you anyway. Stuff that even though it doesn't work, it's kind of comfy, the devil, and your guides are like, when is it enough? When is it enough? And the consequence, because not all consequences are inherently unpreferred or displeasing, right? The consequence of finally letting go of these comforts that aren't necessarily helpful is you stepping into who you know you were born to be. You stepping into this awareness that I can create the life that I desire. Not only can I do it, I already have the tools right in front of me. I don't need more. I don't need different. I am capable with what I have right now. This can be enough to, at the very least, start the process. I think that is my favorite blessing of the magician, is that they remind us that, look, like the stuff in front of you, you know, might not suddenly manifest $1 million or a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath in Silver Lake. But you do have enough things immediately in front of you to begin the process of moving towards those desires that are aligned for you. I do see on the bottom of the deck the High Priestess, and it does feel like there's a bit of a magical initiation that's coming up for you, a bit of a spiritual awakening, and that's to be expected, because usually with the spiritual awakening comes this. Usually with the spiritual awakening comes us shedding those comforts that don't really help us, whether we want to or not. So this all makes sense. It seems like you're stepping into a very exciting year, and there will be effort required on your part. That's another message of the magician. Like, they aren't the type to sit back and watch it all happen. They make it happen. And allowing yourself to be brave and shut the door on those things that aren't working anymore, that haven't been working for some time, is what's also going to help you be brave enough to show up for yourself and have the capacity and courage to do the things you are capable of doing to create the life that you desire. Love it. Happy birthday. See who's next. Janelle. Okay, I'm finally on yours, Janelle. It would be so cool if my scarf just stayed on my head. I'm going to grab a different headscarf because this is going to make me feel crazy. Be right back. This one better stay on. This weather, it's very earthquakey. It's very earthquakey. It's like hot and humid, but it's cloudy. I feel like we've had a lot more earthquakes than usual in these last few months. I think I like tied my hair into this, whatever. We'll see how it goes. Okay. question. No. I want to know if I still have my Santhos with me. It is something that I used to be involved with years ago, but stopped with offerings and such because I felt a lot of negative energy as well. What can I do to bring them back into my life? First, like, yes. First, yes. Like, you don't just lose the spirits you are born with. You might lose touch. You might lose touch with them. You might regress in your spiritual gifts. The same way, like, if you are really into, like, the gym or playing the bass, but if you take a few months or a few years off, you'll find, like, yeah, I still have an idea of how things work, but my skill level isn't the same as it used to be. It's kind of no different with our relationship to our spirits. Or if, you know, you've had a best friend that you spent all of your time with, and then you guys take a few years apart. When you check back in with each other, there's still a familiarity. You still know who the other person is, but you have to work to rebuild the relationship. And that's the biggest thing that is popping up. Like, yes, they are still here, but if you desire to have communion with them, you need to have discipline in the work that you do. It does feel like, especially with the ancestors who are coming through for you, like, spiritual discipline is the key. If you want to rebuild this relationship, it can't be casual. Knee deep in the passenger seat. It cannot be casual. If you want to start reconnecting with your Santhos, like, you have to make sure that you are following. You don't have to do anything. I'm sounding really bossy right now. What your guides are telling me they need from you is for you to follow protocol. What your guides are telling me that they need from you is for you to be disciplined and devoted in your approach to reconnecting. It feels like it's not enough to just be kind of like loosey-goosey, pop in and say hi. You're starting over from the beginning. So, like, if you don't have a Boveda, why not? It's time to start again. If you have a Boveda, wash the sheet, wash the cups, start fresh. I think that starting fresh and leaning into discipline, at least to start you off, is also going to help you feel more confident and comfortable with the spirits that you are connecting with, especially in the past if you've had experiences with negative or like unpreferred entities or energies. That is what the guidelines, the disciplines that have been passed down by the people who came before us are for. Those protocols help us to connect with those whom are aligned with us and our integrity and our moral center and our desire and our destiny, rather than connecting to all of the different things that are out there, right? Like, you can, if you pick up the spirit phone, our protocols are what help us dial and connect directly to those who belong to us, rather than just picking up the phone and saying, operator, take me to anybody. I don't know what tradition your ancestors come from, but now is a good time to start figuring that out. Figuring out what traditions they come from and what tools and protocols are accessible to you right now to start building upon. They're ready to receive you whenever you're ready to put in the labor that is required to commune with them. Okay? Okay. Who's next? Divine Octave. Here. Any guidance and support my guides want to share? Not this deck. The red one. Okay. 2 cards. Can I do a big shuffle? Yes. Cut the deck. Your spirits are very chatty. Chatty, divine octave. They're like, blah, 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 blah. And what I'm getting from that is like, this is no judgment, but it does seem like it would be helpful for you to take more time to just sit and listen to them. Because I can hear them all like clamoring to get to the front because everybody's got something to say and nobody feels like they're being heard. It feels like your guides, there's almost this like backlog of communication trying to come through to you, but they're like, how can we talk to you if you never sit still? How can we talk to you if you never sit still? And that's not just about like, oh, I'm always busy, I'm always doing things. It's also like, are there things distracting you when you're not doing too much? Like I'm gonna drag myself right now. Like there have been times where I want to check out, and like even in the shower, like I will listen to an audiobook, or I'll watch fucking Bravo on Peacock when I'm in the shower because I just don't want to be silent. For whatever reason, I'm having like resistance to silence, and it's in those moments where I'm in the shower or washing dishes and water is running that my spirits normally connect with me the loudest. But if I'm busy distracting myself in any and every way possible, even at those times, like how are they supposed to talk to me? So your guides want to make sure that you are giving yourself enough space for the quiet, even when you're doing activities, so that they can start sending you those messages that have created a bit of a backlog. It does feel like a gratitude practice is going to be helpful for you, especially if it's written down, because I do feel like there's this frustration that's sitting, like your guides are frustrated and you're frustrated, which is funny because like that's just the way it is. Like our guides are reflections and extensions of us in some ways. But sitting down whenever you can, maybe it's once a week, or maybe it's keeping the little notebook in your bag so that you can get to it whenever you get to it. But try for once a week, friend. Try for once a week for like the next 6 weeks to pull out a notebook and write down a gratitude list, thanking yourself and your good spirits for all that you truly are grateful for. I think sometimes folks, when we're in a gratitude practice, we feel like it has to always be these big, important things. But like there are days where I'm just grateful that I remembered to feed myself that day. There are days where I am grateful that I was able to put gas in my car without overdrawing my account. You know, like it can be little things too. Once a week, gratitude list, important. Your spirits are saying very important. The next thing I pulled is libations, and it seems like on Sundays your spirits would like a little drink. A little drink. I'm seeing like brown rum. If you're a person who can't have alcohol in their house, that's okay. Make them some tea. They'll understand. Or if you are open to it, like you could consider trying some of the non-alcoholic spirit options out there. But it does seem like brown rum is the overall preference. Thank you. Okay, Cambodia. That's an amazing screen name. Incredible. There you are. Just want some advice confirmations. I just done a consultation call for these personalized elixirs that I make for clients. And I know that the work I'm doing is, and I want to know that the work I'm doing is good. I feel good, but if there's anything more I need to know, you got it. I immediately heard like, this is one of your guides. She's kind of like a middle-aged woman. She's not like middle-aged. She's a real adult. She says she prefers to be seen as mature, but with plenty of time ahead of her. Got it. Thank you. And she almost looks like a curandera. I see the way she's like drying herbs, using fresh herbs. I see lots of plants and things hanging everywhere. And the first thing I heard her say when I was done reading your question was like, darling, if I didn't think you could do it, I wouldn't have inspired you to do so. They're like, your hands are my hands. Your hands are my hands. And what she's trying to communicate is that when you are working with plants, when you're working with water, when you are creating medicine or creating potions, ritual elixirs, whatever it is, like, she is working through you. And she was like, she's like, I never do bad work. It's just not possible. She's extremely confident in her gifts and her abilities. So if she's the one you're channeling while you're doing those things, if she's the one you're channeling while you're making these elixirs, she's like, would you dare to ask me if my work was good? No. I love her. And she wants you to remember this when you are crafting things for yourself, for others. It's not just you working on these projects. You are co-creating with her, and she only does good work. So naturally, yours is good too. She really wants to help you clear away some of this doubt. And it feels like a lot of this self-doubt is resting right here on the top of your chest, like just below your clavicle. So she's encouraging you to like take some time to cleanse this away. It feels like it's also behind your ears, kind of where our lymph nodes are. And she wants you to start, ask her for her help, because she will help you do it. Clearing this away. She's like, it doesn't matter how good my work is if you keep telling yourself it's not good enough. And she just kind of wants to help you like uproot some of these. It's almost like a mycelium network of self-doubt that's been hanging out here. And she's like, this isn't even yours to carry. She's talking about how like you've proven yourself before. So she's going to help you get rid of this stuff. And she's talking about how the more that you have faith in the work that you do, the greater the response will be. It's like your confidence goes into it. It's kind of reminding me of, I literally just watched this movie because Sam of Toil and Trouble recommended it to me, but like Water for Chocolate, the way her emotions go into the food. So like, even if you have to summon, like conjure that confidence when you're making your things, like find a way to get it, even if you're outsourcing it from the good spirits. Because people experience that emotion when they're receiving it. And the more that you conjure that confidence from outside yourself, the more you're going to find it building up within you. And then you're not going to have to ask your spirits for support. Because it's already going to be in there and strong. Your guide is dragging me for not speaking to her in Spanish, which I think is really fun. She prefers to be spoken to in Spanish. She's not going to tell me her name, but she'll tell you her name. She loves you. She's like, that's enough now. Okay. 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 let's see who's next. Brandy. Brandy, I don't see her. Oh, general. It already says it on here. Okay, Brandy Rogers, general. Pull from the red deck. Okay. That's it. Cut the deck. Okay. Same cards. Over and over again. You know what's funny is like this used to happen a lot when I would work pop-up markets. I would sit and pull some cards before I'd get started just to get a feel for who was coming to sit at my table that day. Kind of like how I pulled the hearth card for all of us at the beginning. And then, without a doubt, every person who sat at my table, like there was this common thread that strung them all together. And this happens when I do client readings one-on-one, even if it's just a couple a day. There's always a theme. But enough about me. Let's talk about Brandy. So the cards I pulled for you, Brandy, are first Candle, which is fun. Damn, these candles are going fast. I'll let that burn out all the way before I light the next one. Candle, and specifically this is referring to, interestingly, like folklore, especially folklore around winter specifically. So you've got from now until the winter proper to start researching folklore that is not only related to the land where you currently live, but also the people who you come from. They want you to start researching those tales and stories about the seasons, the season of the frost, the season of the long night. And it does feel like passing on these stories through oral tradition is important, especially because your ancestral spirits want you to know that you're welcome with them. Like there are maternal spirits among your ancestors who long to like pull you into their bosom and like show you like the love of a mother that you deserve. And it feels like stories is one of the ways that you start to connect with them more intimately. The next thing they want to talk to you about is devotion. And it does feel like there's a change coming in your routine. This card isn't coming up necessarily because you're not doing enough, you're not showing up enough, but it does feel like with the changing of the seasons, there's going to be a change in your routine. When our spiritual routines change, I think it can feel a little bit destabilizing at first, and B, it takes a little while to figure out the new flow. You know, you're not just going to immediately, I mean, maybe sometimes immediately understand how things are going to look and feel and be in this next chapter. It takes some experimentation and giving yourself some grace through that experimentation. Grace to mess up, grace to play around and figure out what feels right, to test one thing and try another. So giving yourself grace as you're figuring out what the new routine looks like feels important, because it feels like there are some changes in your life, and those spiritual routines that you've had in place really suited you for what things were before, but now they're changing into what things are now, and it's okay to adjust your spiritual routines and rituals to fit that, to fit with those changes in your life, rather than trying to like square peg round hole what once worked that doesn't really fit so much with what's happening now. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. All right. Ooh, Diana. I don't see your question, Diana. if you're here, drop it in the chat and I'll come back to you. Fresh Only Bakery, hi. Let's see. I'm getting ready to move soon. Exciting. Anything my grandma wants me to know about the move before it happens? Okay, let's talk about that. Discard. All right. Big shuffle. All right. Cut the deck. Okay. Okay, so Fresh Only, what I'm seeing is that in the process of this move and the time immediately following, it's going to be important that you are, how do you want me to say this? Being conservative with your resources. Now, this could be in relation to, like, quite literally, you know, your funds, looking over your bank account more frequently, making sure that there aren't deductions you didn't know about happening, making sure that there aren't charges to your card that you weren't expecting, things like that, canceling stuff that you're not actually using. Especially when we move, I feel like sometimes the things that we think that we've canceled, like, you know, Spectrum or the gas company, things like that, we know we've canceled them, and yet somehow we end up paying it again anyway. I just canceled my public storage unit and I knew they were going to try to charge me, so I took my card off auto pay. But little things like that, making sure the money isn't kind of like leaking in places. Obviously, you're going to have to spend it on stuff like your bills and eating and having fun sometimes. But just making sure none of it is like flying out under the radar that could be hanging out with you instead. The other thing that they want to make sure of is, like, when it comes to conserving our resources, it's not just the dollars that are in our bank account. It's also the amount of time and energy we give to other people. Making sure that the folks that we are pouring into are people we really do want to pour into, and that the relationship is genuinely appreciated. That your time, your intentions, your energy are genuinely appreciated. Look, like, people can't always show up for each other. People can't always show up for us in the exact way that we show up for them. But do you feel respected? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel loved? Cool beans. If that's not the case, it's okay to start, like, pulling back from some of these connections or some of these habits that aren't really aligned, that aren't really pouring back into you or making you feel like, okay, this is a good use of my time, my energy. The next thing your spirits want to encourage you to do is, as you move, like, once you settle into your new space, that's a really good time to start dreaming, thinking about what could be next. And it doesn't have to be big things. It can if you want it to, but what are some little goals or little dreams that you can put on the calendar or put into your journal to look forward to? Spirit wants you to spend some time doing that. They're like, that is a great use of your energy and your resource, because it feels like in being in this new environment, the soil is also ripe for you to plant your seeds of intention, your seeds of desire in for what comes next. Lastly, I see this Eight of Swords. And again, this comes back to, like, making sure that we aren't giving to, like, let's not be the martyr. let's not be the martyr is exactly what I heard from your spirits, you know? Like, give of yourself where you are wanted and well received. And if that's not the case, like, it's time to take a step back and reserve that energy and attention for something else. I'm also hearing, like, not everyone's problems are your responsibility, is what they said. So do with that what you will. I'm so tangled in my necklaces. Is there anything else you want to say? That's it. Okay. Thank you. Ah, there you are, Diana. What should I be aware of, consider when picking a clinical training site in the new year? That's a cool question. Okay, this might sound weird. If I had $1 for every time I've said that during a reading. This might sound weird, Diana, but orange. You should be looking for orange. Orange. And what's funny is I just flipped over the deck. I haven't flipped the cards, but on the bottom of the deck is the Two of Pentacles. And what colors are they wearing? They're wearing orange. So I don't know if it's like the sign, the logo is orange, or the inside of the office facility is orange. Maybe there's like a bowl of oranges sitting on a counter, but look for orange. Next. One time I gave a reading to someone and I had this moment where I was like, this might sound weird, but in your house hunting, you need to look for an H, and it's an H that's really long in the middle. And a few years later, they had like posted a picture of the house that they ended up buying, and the front window, the panes, I guess, right? Is that what they're called? The window panes were shaped like that long H. And I was like, oh shit, there it is. There's the weird H. So I don't know, look for the weird look for the orange. That seems to be the case. Also, I'm seeing lots of pentacles. What's happening here? Got it. These are more questions that they want you to ask the people that you will potentially be working with, working for, and also questions that you can come back to your guides for if you want further, if you want like affirmation, you know, like if you just want to make sure, but like, is this a place where I can is this a place where I can be myself? Is this a place where I can grow my skills the way I want to? Is this a place where I can be myself? Is this a place where I can grow my skills? Those are the two most important things. And like, will this lead me to future opportunities? But those first two questions seem to be the most important, because I'm also seeing this like vision of you, and you're in this outfit that's very like professional, but like, what does professional even mean, you know? That's conventionally professional are the words that I'm looking for. And you feel uncomfortable. You feel super uncomfy. So I think like prioritizing being able to be yourself so that you can connect with clients who want to connect with someone like you is important. Is this a place where I can be myself? Is this a place where I can grow into my skills? Those are the questions they want you to ask your potential, I guess, like mentors. I don't know what it's called in I guess clinicians. Yeah. That's it. That's good. Okay. Orange. Oh, it's hot. Let's check the weather just for fun. Let's see where we're at. Los Angeles. $103. It's not right. I'm so glad my kids' school has air conditioning. Okay. Art by Jev. Hi, everyone. It's toasty. I'm going to do one more and then I'm going to refill my water bottle, take a quick water break. And y'all should drink some water too. It's hot. I'll take a quick water break, then come back. Art by Jeff. Okay. Where are you? Advice from my good spirits about my manifestation coursework project. What do they think about having my high school friend edit it over the other lady? Okay, high school friend versus the other lady. I like that we're calling this person the other lady. It's funny to me. Ooh, oh, I just got chills. They said 6 of one, half a dozen another. Doesn't really matter who you pick. They're like, it's what's the Pam thing? These are both the same picture. Same support, different fonts, basically, is what I am getting from the, and like literally 6 of one, half a dozen another. This is what came up. It doesn't matter. I do think that TBH, what your guides are telling me is that your old friend from high school feels less invested in what they are reading versus the other lady. Either way, like, you're going to get the support that you need, but that's just like a little chisme, really, from them to me to you. That was a fun question. Thank you. Okay, I am going to refill my water bottle. Y'all should please drink some water too. I might see if I can turn on the air without it sounding crazy on the live. And then I will get to the rest of you. I think I'll be able to get through everyone today as long as I don't melt. All right, be right back. I will see you very soon. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to really quickly screenshot everybody's questions just in case we get kicked off live and we have to start a new one. That's loud. Okay, can y'all still hear me? I turned on the AC and I don't know how loud it is. All right, Posh Ice, you're up. Loud and clear, beautiful, amazing. I'm so grateful because it's fucking hot. I had to turn the window unit on because I'm melting. Okay, beautiful. Posh Ice, any insight from my guides on friendship, specifically my friendship with Dee Dee? It's feeling so distant and lonely these days. You got it. Cut the deck. Okie dokie. Hiccups and a small burp, sorry. Okay. Here's what I am getting. TBH, it feels like, specifically when it comes to Dee Dee, they are going through, they're kind of going through it right now, especially with financial stuff, which is not unusual. I feel like so many of us are going through it with financial stuff right now. And they're really like, they're kind of, feeling a little overwhelmed, feeling a little disheartened. They're really kind of having to retreat into themselves at the moment and figure out like what is it they're supposed to do next. And their way of this, they're giving me a lot of information about someone else. The way that they're kind of like coping with this situation is by retreating inward. And it's okay. Like, it's not so much that this distance is about you. This distance is about them. And you aren't the only person that they are feeling, that they are creating distance with unintentionally. This isn't on purpose. Like, they're not avoiding you or trying to stay away from you for any reason. It doesn't feel like you've caused any harm or that there's anything really wrong with the relationship itself. It's just like shit's hard right now is the vibe that I am getting. And I am seeing that like it feels like there's some struggles happening at work and it doesn't feel great for them as they're trying to sort through this. The best thing that you can do in this moment is just like reach out. Reach out. Reach out. I'll be there. But really, just reach out. And you might hear back from them. You might not. You might not hear back from them for like a couple days, a couple weeks even. Like we've all been through that season where like the number on our text messages keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're like, I'm just not going to open that. I'm just going to pretend this app doesn't even exist. And that kind of feels like that's where they're at, is they're trying to sort through stuff. But just reaching out and reminding them like, I'm still here, you know? Whatever's going on, I'm still here. You can talk to me if you want to. You don't have to talk about this at all, but if you just need some company, I'm around. We can FaceTime, we can sit on the phone and watch TV together and not talk at all. We can like, rot on the couch together quietly if that's what you need, but just letting them know that there are ways to spend time together and be in one another's company that don't involve having to like spend a bunch of dollars. I think that's a really nice way to show up, even if Dee Dee doesn't initially like take you up on it right away, right? They might need to, it feels like this stuff around money and job is also affecting their feelings of worth, and just you letting them know, I'm still here, I haven't gone anywhere, I'm still here, whenever you need me, I'm still here, is going to be extremely more helpful. Why am I crying? Like more helpful than you realize. On the bottom of the deck, I do see the 10 of Cups, which tells me that like there's still a lot of love here. and that things between the two of you will get better and start to feel more comfortable and connected in due time. They're just kind of going through it, and their way of dealing with it is by like taking a step back from everything. Okay, so just let them know you care, because I think that they've gotten to the point where they're like, wow, I'm creating all of this distance between myself and the people that are in my life, and now I feel like I can't even ask for support. You know, like they're in that space right now. So just reminding them like, hey, I still love you, I'm still here, is going to be really helpful in more ways than you realize, even if you don't hear back right away. Okay, that was a good question. Thank you, Posh Ice. Okay, Blanca, the Moon Chola. And if y'all like these lifestyle readings, Blanca does them way more often, way more consistently than I do, and she's really fucking good at what she does. Okay, I just want to know which spirit is with me right now the most. Ooh. I feel your brother. And, he feels really different than the last time that I've connected with him. I see like this warm smile. I'm okay. I'm okay, is what I keep hearing. I'm okay. He wants a job. He needs like an assignment. He wants to help. He wants to feel like he's helping. What can I do for you, is what I keep hearing. Like, what can I do? What can I do? Like, give me a job. Give me a job. What can I do? It feels like he's come back very recently. Very recently. And he's talking about like how exciting it is to see everybody growing, getting bigger. He's like, everyone looks healthy and happy. And that like, I'm sorry. I don't feel pain. I don't feel grief. I just feel joy. Like so much joy. And he's talking about how like I know things are hard sometimes. He's like so proud of you. And he's so impressed with like all of the shit that you do. He doesn't know how you do it. He doesn't know how you do it. He wants to help. Let him know how he can help, okay? Oh, goodness. These are tears of joy. You know what's wild is like I had like really big heartburn, and the second I felt your brother, like it went away. Like he's really doing okay. He's in a really good place. It's not an afternoon with me if I don't sob, but I've gotten smarter and I only use waterproof mascara now. Okay. You're welcome. Thank you. Britain. Okay. Excited. It's crying time. Love to cry. Okay, Britain, going on a development trip for a creative project. Insight on creative inspiration, calming big nerves, any practical guidance. I'm self-funding during an already stressful time, but I feel called. Okay, let's talk about it. I love happy things. It's a very happy thing. of all, the card that flew out of the deck, and I was like, is this about shuffle or is this important? They said it's important, is the Magician, which I think is a really, do I think or do I know? I'm certain that this is an excellent affirmation that this work that you are doing, this trip that you are going on, is very timely. It is in alignment with the things that you are called to accomplish. You are showing up for yourself, and although it is scary self-funding this trip, but it is not in vain. It is the work that you are meant to do. So your guides are really proud of you, and it does feel like you're going to be able to make the thing that you're setting out to do. Now, the next few things I want to talk about, like how to support yourself. I pulled the Page of Cups, and what's coming through is like making sure, not making sure, what am I saying? Communing with water as a spiritually supportive tool. Whether that's when you're in the shower and it's a hair wash day, making sure to like gently cleanse your scalp, your head. It feels like a lot of your stress rests right here on the top of your head. So like scratching at your scalp while you're shampooing and just kind of like pulling away energetically those stressors while you are sitting in the shower is going to help keep your head clear so that you can focus on what it is you set out to do. The next thing that I'm seeing is this Six of Cups, and this is a reminder that like you're not supposed to do this by yourself. You don't need to do this by yourself. You can ask for help, and it does seem like this help comes from somebody you've worked with before. Maybe you've worked parallel to each other on similar but different projects, or maybe you've worked together on the same project before, but this does seem like somebody who's kind of like floated around your life for some time, and I think they might just be like genuinely interested in whatever it is that you're doing, and because they are interested and supportive of you, they will be willing to show up and help you out however it is you need help. But we must be willing to give people the opportunity to show up for us. We have to ask for the help that we need, or ask people what kind of help they're able to offer, and see whether or not that support aligns with what our needs currently are. The next thing I'm seeing is the Four of Pentacles. This little creepy king has been hanging out with us all day long. He keeps popping up, which makes sense because like everybody's feeling the strain of I mean, inflation and just how expensive the world is right now. And your spirits just want to make sure that you're being mindful, being cautious, you're looking over your numbers consistently. Like, it can be a little bit stressful to keep checking the bank account, but also it's going to help keep you grounded, to keep checking in. Because it's in those moments where we're like, I'm just going to take a break from looking, that we're like, oh, fuck, where did all the money go? So checking regularly at first might seem like a lot of extra effort, but ultimately it seems like the thing that's going to help you be grounded. And then last but not least, I see the Strength card. And what did they say? I don't know what this means, but I'm going to share it with you. Your guide said, don't assign yourself the task of taming lions who do not want to be tamed. Basically, like, keep your eyes on your own paper. Keep focused on the work that's immediately in front of you. It does feel like some lion-y distractions might pop up and you're like, oh, I gotta deal with that. And your guides are like, but do you? But do you? Really? Like, do you have to? Is that actually your job? Or do you have this obligation to always be the person responsible, when in this particular case you actually aren't and don't need to be, is what's coming up. So keep a close eye on your finances. Use those showers and bath times as a way to spiritually cleanse yourself. Also, I think it would be helpful for you to cover your head too while you're out and about, because you seem very like psychically tender right now, and I think a lot of it has been activated by the work that you do. And TBH, I kind of feel like spirits are going to help guide you in this like research project. I kind of feel like you're just going to be hearing things, knowing things, following things, and it might not always make sense to anyone else around you, but to you, you're like, I just know I need to look at this. I just know I need to be here. I just know I need to be reading this or seeing this. It does feel like you're in the midst of a bit of a spiritual awakening. So as you're out and about in the world on this research journey, on this development trip, like wear a hat, wear a scarf, keep your head covered when you're out and about in the world, because that's going to help you not get overwhelmed by all of the spirits that are around you, and stay focused on those that are actually there to support you in the work that you're doing. Okay? Exciting. Tell me all about it when you get back. Okay. Folks that have like sent a second, I'm going to try to get through everyone who hasn't been read for first. And then if we still have time, I'll go back and do like your second reading, because I do see a few people have submitted more than once. But I want to try to get through everyone first. And if I can't get to your second reading, of course, I will refund your donation. Okay, so Cypress Shadows, then Vane House. Cypress Shadows. I would like insight on how to try connecting to a spiritual practice again. It's been traumatic throughout my life, and I just feel I can't find something that works for me. I want it to be part of my life, but I'm not sure how anymore. That's a really good question. Thank you for trusting me with it. Let's see. Do I cut the deck? No. I knew this card was going to come up. Okay. When it comes to reconnecting with your spiritual practice, your guides are really encouraging you to start small. Start small. There's no need to put any extra pressure on yourself by trying to commit to rituals that might feel overwhelming or just like too much for you to manage. And I think sometimes even like, you know, showing up every morning and leaving them coffee, like I feel like you're not supposed to connect outside of yourself at this time. Especially since it feels like you've had some uncomfy experiences, and even like maybe in some instances unsafe feeling experiences. Your guides are like, there's no need to put all of your efforts, at least right now, into focusing on the others, like the spirits that you can't see. Instead, your spiritual practice, they're encouraging you to focus it around yourself. Your body is the most important altar. Tending to yourself. Again, there's that making sure you're eating, making sure you're drinking water, making sure you're getting rest, all as best as you can, right? We all have responsibilities and jobs that we have to show up for. But as best you can, making your spiritual practice a practice of caring for you, tending to you. That seems to be the priority here. Connecting to the spirit that's inside of you, getting to know yourself more intimately. That's the priority that your good spirits are bringing up. And TBH for you, it feels like journaling. I feel like that's been coming up a lot today. Journaling seems like a good practice for you. And, you know, when I say journaling, I think folks feel like, oh, I have to write something important every day. And it's like, you don't. You really don't. If you don't know where to start, like start with a gratitude list. Start by just like writing, you know, that's something we learn in the artist's way. It doesn't always have to mean something. Just let your pen go and see what comes out. It might just be like, you know, 5 pages of me like bitching for a little while before I start to get to the good stuff. And that's okay. It might just be like nonsense words for a little while. That's okay. But it does feel like getting your hand moving is a really good way to connect to the spirit within, this altar within. They're like, that's it. That's the whole practice. Eating, drinking, sleeping, journaling. That's it. Your spirits want you to focus there first. And if and when you feel like you want to expand that to the spirits around you, they're here and they're ready. But for now, that seems to be the most important thing. Like, the care and keeping of you is the spiritual practice, okay? Also, it feels like you do some sort of art. You do something creative. I don't know if it's painting or drawing or pottery, like, I don't know what it is, but like, that in itself is a spiritual practice too. Like, that is channeling, and your spirits want you to give yourself a little bit more like credit when you're doing those things. Like, that really is divine moving through you. And when it comes to like the arts, the crafts, the hobbies that we enjoy, it's not about being good at it, it's about liking how you feel when you're doing it. That's the most important thing, okay? Thank you, Cypress. Okay. Vane House. Turning 48 today. Happy birthday, Virgo. What birthday messages from my guides, ancestors? That's it, cut the deck. I like this for you. Am I reading reversals? No. From your guides, I pulled strength. When it comes to this card, it's less about the conventional meaning and more about the figure in white. Your guides are talking about how wearing white for 30 days is medicine. It's going to help clear your head. Wearing white for 30 days is discipline, because it takes effort and we have to be conscious of the things that we are choosing to do in order to keep our garments clean. There is effort because most of us don't have a ton of white outfits, so we're going to be washing more often. But there is medicine here for you in 30 days of white, and it seems like it will do you a lot of support. It's going to offer you a lot of support and like the clarity. It feels like your Ori is in need of some clarity, and it does feel like this 30 days of white is going to offer you a lot of that certainty that has been eluding you for a little while. On the bottom of the deck, we do have the 9 of Pentacles and Temperance, which I think is fun because look at all these figures in white. Can we just take a moment? Sometimes they're very literal. But more, I want to focus on this more, this 9 of Pentacles, and something your spirits are sharing with me is like, you are destined to live comfortably. They're talking about how like that is a part of your birthright. And I see this like lineage of healers, mystics who came before you. And they're talking about how like they were well cared for by their communities. And they're talking about how they want to help you to find that same comfort within the context of this life and how things work within these systems. Again, they're emphasizing the importance of this 30 days of white. So you decide when you start it, because that's when you deciding when you're going to start it also determines when you get to experience the results of it, the support of it. You have like a lot of espiritistas around you. And they're like, talk to us more. And they're also saying there's so much life yet ahead. They love you. Happy birthday, is what they said. I think you share a birthday with one of your ancestors too. That's what I'm getting. Thank you, Vanny. Okay, Liz. Oh, I love when the person is at the top of the question box. It's amazing. Is there anything my guides want me to know about the new guy I'm talking to? Oh, fun. Going on a date tomorrow, and I have a good feeling about him, but feeling a bit afraid about putting myself out there and being vulnerable. Your guides are like, we don't want to talk about him. They want to talk about you. They don't want to talk about him. They want to talk about you. And it's not because they necessarily have an opinion of him one way or another. If they do, they're not telling me about it. But I think, you know, with the exception of like helping us to not put ourselves in dangerous situations, when it comes to love, like that's always going to be a gamble. Even with people who are a good match for us, even with people who are kind and well-intentioned, like humans are going to human, and love is one of those things that's not just up to us, it's up to the other person or people that are involved in the relationship or potential relationship. So your guides don't want to talk to me about the other person so much, which is unfortunate because I do love Chisme. But that's okay. We're going to talk about you instead. And what are they saying? When it comes to you putting yourself out there with this guy, with anyone really, your spirits want to remind you that it's not your responsibility to fix other people. It's not your responsibility to fix other people. People don't have to show up in your life perfect. But it seems like the partners that are right for you are people who are open to the idea and the work that comes with, you know, the forever work of being a good human, of learning to live with another person, whether it's in the same house or not. You know, I'm not saying you're going to move in with this person. I don't know yet. But it's not so much about somebody coming to the table perfect. It's about them being invested in continuing to be a good human. And they want to remind you that, like, you are not the nurse. They were kind of sassy about it too. You are not the nurse with this person or anyone else. I feel like that's a big important thing for you. The next thing they want to remind you is, like, they're being kind of funny right now. Like, I see that, like, I hear that Nicki Minaj sound clip, like, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. So they just want you to, like, I don't know, be mindful. Sometimes we don't realize the things that we say can hurt other people's feelings. Like, it happens to the best of us, even with the best of intentions. Like, we can find ourselves putting a whole foot or two in our mouths when we're talking to other people. So they just want to make sure that, like, you're being patient and thoughtful in the way that you communicate with others. And also, like, if you're putting in that effort in the way that you communicate with potential partners, let's make sure that they're putting that effort in towards you too. that they are open to hearing you when you say like, hey, this isn't okay, or this hurt my feelings, or this made me feel away because XYZ, and they're like, cool, thank you for telling me. That needs to be like reciprocal. Last but not least, it does feel like your spirit guides are asking you, inviting you to explore, especially like this is a good time of year for it, the fall and the winter, exploring like sensuality and sexuality, because TBH, it feels like like you aren't even sure like what does it for you, and your spirits are like, you got to do it for yourself. There's some self-exploration that is coming up, whatever that means for you, you know, like sensuality doesn't always have to be partnered with like sex and physical intimacy. It can come from so many other experiences that are visceral and exciting. So whatever exploring sensuality means for you, your spirits want you to take some time with yourself, trying to like discover what's exciting, what's interesting, what like makes you feel tingly and excited and curious, because I think that's also going to help you when it comes to communicating what it is to other people, potential partners. I do feel like there's someone who's kind of like always there. You know, like I feel like everybody's got, not everybody, but most of us have that one person, that one dude, that one person who's just like forever in the back of our minds, maybe still in our DMs. Your spirit's like, we gotta let that one go. So whomever that is, whether they live rent-free in your mind or they're still popping up in your phone from a number you don't necessarily have saved but you still know by heart, your spirits are like, that's a block in the path, so they want you to deal with that obstacle how you will. Okay, that was fun. Thank you, Liz. Everyone. All right, who's next? If the live cuts off, I'll just start it back up again. Screenshotting the questions again so I don't lose them. Super chingona. Okay, where are you? And Liz, okay, I just saw that Charlotte popped into the chat, but I think you're in Moon Shadows, and this month Charlotte is hosting a workshop about like sacred sensuality and intimacy and rituals with the self. So like, check it out. It's like towards the end of the month. Check out the calendar. Okay, super chingona. Who is guiding me from the other side of the veil? What messages do they have? I keep seeing 111, 444, 555. How can I co-create with them and honor them? Okay. Who's guiding me from the other side of the veil? So like, so many. There's always so many different guides and ancestors who come through. Yeah, I'm super excited for that class list. Charlotte's here. Go follow Charlotte. Lotus in a Sea of Fire, and then also Intimacy with Charlotte. Okay. We have so many guides and we have so many ancestors who are there supporting us, but let's see which one is calling out to you. Is this the wrong deck? Put it down. Okay. Ooh, okay. This is a... What's happening here? So who's who? Felicidades. There are two spirits that come forward. And the one I'm going to speak about first is one of your guias, one of your guides. It feels as though she's your main guide. And the name she's offering me is Janine. But I have a feeling the more you talk to her, like, her actual name will become clear. She's very protective, she's very supportive, but what I will say is, like, there's this distance. Like, I'm hearing her through, it's almost like somebody's trying to scream through plexiglass, trying to talk to you, and there's this other spirit over here, whose name, like, I don't want to know. But they definitely feel like a trickster, troublemaker. Not necessarily dangerous, but disruptive. I feel as though this spirit's voice at this time is louder than Janine's. They are, like, all up in your space, in your business. And I wonder if sometimes you're like, fuck, like, I did what my guide said. Like, why did this not work out? It's because, like, it's whoever this is. I don't believe this spirit has ever been human. I encourage you to give yourself and your living space a really good deep cleansing. Like, you should take a spiritual bath. I think a nice thick smoke cleansing in your living space would be nice. Something that makes thick smoke, like juniper has thorns and it's very protective, very, like, grandfatherly, aligned emperor energy. Make sure all the windows are open, and just as you are cleansing the space, let the space know, like, whoever is not of my court, whomever is not of my spirits wise and well, like, you can't stay here, basically. Because it does feel like this spirit tends to interrupt your guide a lot. And that's going to be frustrating and confusing for you. I don't think you need to be afraid by any means, but it's certainly, like, an inconvenience. It's giving, like, thorn in my side kind of vibes. Like, this doesn't feel good or helpful. It's not detrimental, but it's certainly not making life easier. So I would do what you can to alleviate yourself of this spirit in your space, giving it a good deep cleanse, and saying out loud, like, you can't stay here. You cannot stay here, clearing the way for you to be able to connect with your good spirits more easily. Also, now that you have a name for your spirit guide, the more you say her name, the more you intentionally channel her, like, Janine, I'm talking to you, the stronger your relationship becomes, and the more you'll be able to hear her clearly, and it's going to help you to discern between, am I talking to my guide right now, or is there something else going on? Is there something else up here? It does feel like this kind of, like, trickstery spirit found you in a moment of vulnerability. So I don't know if you were, like, really sick or just, like, not feeling well, like, emotionally, but it feels like that was the time where they were like, so now, I mean, if not now, when would be a good time to give your space and yourself a really good cleansing and clearing, and let that spirit know that, like, they can't stay here. And start talking to Janine more, and make sure you say her name when you are trying to talk to her, because that's going to help strengthen your relationship to your spirits wise and well. Okay? Whew. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay. OJ. You are full of life these days. Okay. I would love to know where... It's okay. You do not need to be sorry for asking a question. You literally paid for this time. Super chingona. So, do not apologize. This is literally the job that I do. Okay. OJ, I am full of life these days and would love to know where to direct this creativity into. Okay. Is this the right deck? Oh my gosh. Turning the window air conditioning on was the right choice. Game changer. Now I'm using Passages Oracle deck by Liliana Perez. What's it? Good deck. Ooh. I think your emoji choice is really fun because the first card that came up for you is childhood. And something that your good spirits are encouraging you to pour some of this creativity into is spending some time doing some inner child work. I feel like that phrase has become so cliche at this point and it's annoying. But it's what your good spirits are encouraging you to do. One of the ways that I teach engaging with our child self is through you can do it through like guided journey, you can go on your own journey, but a simple way to do it is like before you go to bed, sit with yourself and envision yourself sitting with the younger version of you. It seems like 9 or 10 is the version of you who's looking for some attention. And as you're sitting in your mind with this 9-10-year-old version of you, ask them like, what is it that you need? And give it to them, whatever it is. Maybe it's a Barbie. Maybe it's some time hanging out with friends or some time hanging out with an adult that they trust and cherish. Maybe it's getting to go swimming. Like maybe it's getting to ride that skateboard they weren't allowed to have. Like whatever it is that they need, give it to them. And continue doing this process like once a night, every other night, until you get to a point where that version of you is like, I'm okay now. Like I have everything that I need. I have everything that I need. And you can reach out and hug them and integrate them back into your body, all in your visions, in your mind's eye. Another way to do that is to just like think about, what did 9-10-year-old me really enjoy doing? What was I maybe not allowed to do, or I didn't get to do enough of, or I did all of the time but I don't do anymore now? And spending some time, waking hours in the physical world, engaging with those activities to help offer some nurturing and tenderness to that younger version of you. I also feel like 15-year-old you has some stuff to say. Start younger and work your way back up. The next thing that I'm seeing here is dreams. I keep feeling like you're an artist too. Like you're supposed to be coloring, drawing, painting, making origami paper cranes. Like you're supposed to be doing stuff with your hands that's colorful. And it feels like that's where your creativity is asking you to explore. Okay? Cute, cute. Thank you, OJ. This will go in the case. Okay, and this might sound random, but like maybe you're supposed to make a deck too. Could be neat. All right, let me refresh this and make sure there isn't anyone I missed before I go back and read for the folks who've submitted twice. These earbuds are pretty cool. I was very anti-earbuds for a long time. They're not so bad. I'm going to go back through and read for the folks who submitted again, now that I think I've gotten to everyone. Just want to make sure. Guadalupe, I see you on the questions, but I don't see you on here. Will you just comment your social media handle on your Venmo so I know which person you are? Gabs, let's see. I don't see Gabs on here either. Will you just comment on your Venmo, your screen name, so that I know which one is you? I do see who is PML. Okay. Since they want to be sassy, LOL, did I make a mistake with who I left or who I thought would heal me? They said no. It was a very loud no, and they had me pull a card, and it was the 8 of Cups. You made the right choice to walk away with whomever it was that you left behind, so no regrets. It was immediately no. Yeah, if you have questions, you can go ahead and send over a Venmo and drop your question in the question box right here. Just please write your screen name on your donation so that I can match it all up. Okay, Bunny Burnout, I see you again. I just want to mark it on here so that I don't lose track of everyone. I'm trying to stay organized. Here we go. Okay. Follow-up question. So, I will not be purchasing the theater, LOL. My guides gave me insight on if I should take the LSAT and send my apps in November or wait until the next cycle. My intuition says apply this cycle, but I wanted confirmation. You got it. Big shuffle, okay. Shuffle again. Okay, big one? Yes, okay. One more, okay. So much shuffling. Now cut the deck. Okay. Did I do that right? Yes. Yes, it does seem worthwhile to take the LSAT and send your apps this November. They said to not be afraid to ask for help in the process. Don't be afraid to ask for help in the process. Because it does feel like, there are certain things in this life that we're not supposed to be doing alone. So maybe it's you need a study buddy or a study group. Maybe it's... I do think you're supposed to, of course, ask your good spirits for support. But I also think you're supposed to ask people who are of the living for support in this process too. Maybe it's a counselor. Maybe it's one of your peers. But don't feel like you have to do this whole process by yourself. So yes, it's worthwhile to do it. And also they want you to release yourself of the expectation that release yourself of the pressure, I need to pass this the first time. Because honestly, I don't know whether you will or you won't, but it's not unusual to have to do it more than once in order to like get the score that you need to go to the next place, you know? I feel like Legally Blonde kind of set us up for thinking like we're not good enough if we don't pass it. 179 if we don't pass it the first time we take it. It's okay if you have to do this process more than once. It's pretty normal, but you might as well get started now. It does absolutely seem worth it to start applying and to take the test this November. Okay. Let's see. Let me make sure I don't miss anybody. Okay, Alex, I haven't read for you yet, so let's do yours. Clarity on the dynamic of my romantic relationship and the steps forward that would be most aligned with my highest good. You got it. What kind of shuffle? Oh, big one. Okay. Cut the deck. Okay. I'm hearing this is funny, like the Chicks song, There's Your Trouble, there's your trouble, there's your trouble. What are the lyrics of that song? There's Your Trouble, song by the Chicks. Should have been different, but it wasn't different. Same old story, and Dear John, and so long. Should have fit like a glove, should have fit like a ring, a diamond ring, a token of true love. Okay, there's your trouble, there's your trouble. Keep seeing double with the wrong one. I will say this is interesting because on the bottom of the deck I see the Three of Swords. So it does feel, I used this turn of phrase earlier, but it feels like at this point it's a little bit of like a square peg in a round hole. There's something it's just not fitting right now. It's just not fitting. And it's interesting here because when I look at the advice your spirits are offering you, it's very much more about you and not so much about the other person or people involved. I see here the Knight of Pentacles, and it's being crossed by this Ace of Pentacles, and what I'm getting from that is like the more that you step into yourself, the more that you realize who you are, who you're becoming, the more that you grow comfortable with your authenticity, and like it feels like you're getting bigger. It really does. It feels like you're getting bigger and like badder in the best way. And it's almost like embracing this authenticity is what's causing some turmoil, is what's causing some discontent. And if you being who you are is the problem, then perhaps you're not the problem at all. Perhaps in growing into ourselves, we are growing apart a bit. Now, I'm not telling you what you should or should not do. I'm not saying like, leave it all behind. But I do think that there's some stuff that you need to stop and like consider. And it starts with like talking to yourself about like, what is it that I need at this point? As I become more and more aware of who I am, as I become more and more confident and comfortable with who I am, as I like myself more and more, like what does it mean if me falling in love with who I am causes disruption in my partnership? And have you taken the time to communicate this awareness, or will you take the time once you sit and reflect with yourself a little bit to communicate what becomes clear in this thought process with the other party or parties involved? The Eight of Swords is telling me that like you're taking a lot of the blame on yourself, and TBH, I don't even think this is like a someone's right, someone's wrong type of situation. I just think we're changing. And everybody needs to sit down and decide if we can keep changing together, or if this change means, these changes within ourselves means that we need a change in the dynamic of this partnership. I do see, interestingly, like there's some sort of connection here that's going to keep y'all in each other's lives in some way. And it doesn't feel like toxic. It just feels like that's just the nature of things. That's just the way it is. So if, you know, we ultimately decide like, let's keep growing, but with our relationship looking different, I do still see that there's some sort of connection between y'all no matter what. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you growing into yourself, you falling in love with yourself, is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And it's just something that really needs to be like, we got to sit down and talk about it instead of us separately being in our feelings about it, and decide like, can we keep being what we are to one another now, or does how we are in relationship to one another need to change along with us? And I think this is the type of situation, the type of decision that doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's going to be a process, and that's okay. It's okay to take your time and maybe experiment a little bit with how dynamics can shift before making any big calls. But I do sense like there is, stop crying. I do sense that there is like genuine love and respect here. It's just sometimes we change, and we have to decide what that means for how we relate to one another. Okay? Let's see. Thea. Okay, I see you here, Thea, with a follow-up question. Had a major trauma happen recently, and I'm wondering if there's an attachment or dark energy involved. No. I don't feel that there's any sort of harmful influence that contributed to this experience happening. It feels like choices were made and you were affected by those choices. I think what your spirits are trying to communicate is like to say that like an entity or a spirit, an influence was involved would be to take responsibility away from those who should be responsible. And it also, what your spirits want you to know is like, you didn't deserve what happened to you. They're like, you know, shit happens in this life. And it's not because you're being punished, and it's not because you're a bad person or you deserved something traumatic to happen. Like, sometimes bad things happen, just like sometimes incredible things happen. And it's the unfairness of this human experience, but one that we can't always avoid. And your guides want to assure you that like there's no lingering harmful influence like of the spirit realm that contributed to that situation or that's hanging out post that situation. I will say I am sensing a bit of like susto. Feels like a part of yourself was lost in the process. And when you're feeling well enough and supported enough and ready, I do think some soul retrieval work would be really helpful for you. But there's no need to like rush it, TBH is the vibe that I'm getting. It feels like you just need to take care of you for a little while before you start jumping into spiritual remediation. But ultimately, I do see maybe like around December, you might want to consider doing some soul retrieval work for that part of you that kind of jumped out of your body when you had that experience. Your spirits love you, and I see a lot of like nurse type spirits around you right now, so it does seem like their focus is on helping you feel better, helping you feel supported, helping you feel well. Ooh. Thank you, Thea. Alex, you're crying. I'm crying. Everybody's crying. Okay, Carolina. Following up on my last reading, we have a date, but do they want us to elope sooner? Listen, you do not have to marry anyone any sooner than you desire to. Our spirits can have opinions. If this is a big decision, and you're the one who has to live with what happens next. With that said, like, they would also love for you to get married yesterday. And I think a big part of it is like, your spirits really want you to have the experience of a very like intimate, like just the two of you, like sacred, special moment. So maybe even if you don't get legally married tomorrow, like having some sort of ceremony or ritual where it's like maybe just you, or you and just a couple of like your good friends, people you really care about. I feel like a cousin should be there. I just remembered who your cousin is. That's so funny. I feel like a cousin should be there perhaps, but something very, very small that's just y'all, whether it's a legal elopement or just like a little blessing of your union. Your spirits want you to have something that's just yours, and that like is part of your, you know, sacred and energetic commitment to one another, because it does feel like the wedding itself might get kind of big. The wedding itself might get kind of big. So, and I think that you might feel a little bit overwhelmed and lost in the sauce, or there's those moments where you're like, I don't even remember like the wedding itself. I don't even remember the experience. I don't even remember who I talked to. I didn't get to talk to the people I wanted to. I didn't get to spend enough time with my groom. Like that type of stuff might start coming up. So I think having this little sacred thing that's just yours is going to be really special, and it will only make the big day all the better. It's big, I'm scared. I knew it. Everybody's gonna RSVP us. You know what? When we were sending out invitations, my mom was like, half these people are gonna RSVP now, don't worry. Every single person RSVP'd yes. And I don't really remember my wedding. I was also still drinking then, so it's a different time. But something I joke about, I'm not even joking, I'm serious. Like, I regret not just eloping first and like having this thing that was just ours. Like, if I could do it all over again, I would have like gone to Vegas and had that, and then still had, you know, the big family wedding after. I don't regret getting married. It was awesome. Love it here. But yeah, but I'm not you, you're not me. You gotta do what's right for you. I'm just sharing your spirit's opinions, but at the end of the day, this is your life and your commitment, so you decide what you want to do. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna go through my Venmo list to make sure that I got everyone. Hiccups. We got through them kind of fast today. This is nice. Oh my gosh, the hiccups. Okay. I think I got everyone. Amazing. Amazing. Well, my friends, thank you so much for joining. We will do this again in October. I I'm probably gonna do this like once a month. I feel like that's what I have realistic capacity for. I thought for a minute I could do this every Friday, but my spirits were like, no, you can't. You are tired. So we'll do this once a month. Maybe in October we'll focus on ancestor readings. I don't know. We'll see. Before I let everyone go, I'm going to take a minute to close our circles. If you want to join me, close your eyes if it's comfortable. Relax into your seat. Let's take 3 big breaths together, in through our noses and out through our mouths. On behalf of myself, Caitlin, and my good spirits, I thank each and every one of you and your good spirits for being in attendance here today. Good spirits, we thank you for your blessings, your protection, your wisdom, now and always. We thank you, Creator and Creatrix, for this moment. And we thank all the versions of ourselves who gathered here today to receive. It is in love that I received each and every one of you in this circle, and it is in love that I return your energy and your spirits to you now. All right, friends, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Oh, and if you love getting readings from me, you like hanging out with me, the doors to Moon Shadows close next Friday, and we do readings every month. We do them live on Zoom, and we also do them on Discord, so that's a fun way to get to hang out all the time. Bye, everyone.